Okay, Progresso. Let me see here. So the valuations, let's see.
All right, so do you want me to start? Do you want me to read it? I have it right here on my screen.
Yeah, go ahead, Ryan.
What are the possible causes of Progresso's poor sales performance? For each possible cause, what broad options are available to improve performance? Do not limit yourself to only 3 or 4 issues. Come up with as many as you find in the case. Try creating a table to help you structure this response.
Okay.
Am I reading the same thing, the right thing, or no?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you are.
That sounds right.
So, let's see here. So what do you guys think were the reasons behind their poor sales?
I'm trying to pull mine.
Well, the sales teams aren't properly motivated because, as you read in the case study, they just didn't care.
Well, wasn't
So either that means that they have the wrong people as in their branches or doing the sales, or they're just not compensated, or they're sometimes salespeople just need to be fired. But I don't know if it's all just the salespeople's fault though either.
wasn't too like the compensation was so nice that they set these goals, but the compensation was so nice that they didn't care to achieve the goals because their revenues were fine and they were making revenue, so they were like, oh well, that doesn't matter. But with that revenue, based on the revenue and after everything else, after the loans and things, they weren't really making a profit either.
Yeah, I also think, just when looking through it, one thing that I questioned was the whole Sears and Kmart kiosk thing, in the sense of that, Sears asked that Progresso distribute 80% of their loans with a proprietary gift card for either Sears or Kmart. So that limits their, people aren't going to sign for loans because they don't want a gift card to Sears when they're asking for a loan. They want, their loan for other things. And so I was just like, man, that is just not a good thing to do, in my opinion.
Agreed.
Yep.
Sorry, I guess my internet sucks at this hotel. Sorry, guys.
No, you're fine.
It only took about 5 minutes of me talking to be like, oh, I don't think anyone can hear me.
Jorge said something else was that Progresso could not track conversion rates at each step of the sales process because it lacked the information system to do so. Gutierrez had scrambled to hire a new head of IS to overhaul the application system and allow the company to track conversion rates in the sale process at the company store and AE levels.
100% agree with that.
Yeah, that's totally true.
Mm-hmm.
So, let's see. What broad options would help their performance? So I think Jorge mentioned one as far as hiring a manager to track their conversion rates at each level.
And it's not just a manager to track it, it's the whole system. So they need to invest in that information system. Or even, I don't know, I think I use something called Zoho, which is kind of like a Salesforce, it's a CRM. But I think they need something that's a little bit more sophisticated than that to really track each little level of the process.
Yeah.
We mentioned, probably the right people aren't on the team or individuals. Is there a way that we could track, if they're a right individual or not? And the reason I'm thinking of that is there's a book called Good to Great by Jim Collins.
Oh, that is a great book.
Oh yeah, I love that book. So one
People
of his
getting on the
complete
bus.
chapters is dedicated. Exactly. But it's not just getting on the bus, but the right people on the bus.
Yep.
So my question is like a question I always challenge when I read that book or I discuss it is, how do you know if they're the right person? Because obviously the employees aren't doing well, but they just don't care. So how do you find the right employee?
I that's a good question. I think, well, first off, you wouldn't be able to find the right employee unless the company has a set, or like, okay, these are our values. This is our business motto. This is our business model. You would need to define all those things, and then within your interviews, find the people that fit the majority of those things. A person's not going to fit all aspects. That's why you hire multiple people, because they will fit all aspects of your business. But that's a good question.
Well, here's one thing that you could do, right, to get the right people. And I've done this through big companies that I've worked for. They do like personality tests.
Yep.
So you fill all this stuff out during the interview process. And so that's another way to kind of filter through people.
Yeah, and I also think I know my dad when he's considering hiring someone to run, so my dad's business runs all these different markets, but he's got to have someone to run one market, as he actually like takes my mom and my dad and takes the person that he's considering and his wife out to dinner. So it's not even necessarily business, but just seeing their personal life and how they conduct themselves just also gives a key insight into, who you want for your company.
Another thing that I was thinking when I was reading this case is that there is this company called HireView, and they develop like a system or an app or software where you could like record yourself with questions that top companies provide. And once you record yourself, it goes through a filter selecting and sending your video to the companies that are looking for somebody with those specifications according to the filter.
Interesting.
Yeah, never heard of that.
Yeah.
And maybe I didn't get to it in the case study, but does it go over like commissions and stuff like that for these? It says that they weren't getting any commissions, and I can tell you, if you don't have a good sales training program for your sales reps, and if they're not making money and they don't think that you want them to make money, they don't care.
Yeah. Well, I know on page 9, table 1, it does introduce a commission schedule established in 2016. So
Okay.
0 to 14, you got none. 15 to 20, you got $18, and then it went down. But at the same time, and then that's per loan. So if you had $15 loans that you distributed, that would be 15 times $18.
Okay.
So
I mean, and obviously you just can't pay. You can't just pay the salespeople just a ton of money to go do stuff, because then, there needs to be money left over for other things, right? But
yeah,
if they don't feel like they're being given the skills, I think that's an answer to the question. What broad range of skills can you do, or
training.
broad range plans can you do? And it's training the sales staff.
Yep.
Maybe having contests between branches. Like, hey, whoever, yes, you can't just pay everyone more money, but if you have these contests and you say, hey, whoever does, this much here and here, you guys get $1,000 spiff, is what they call it, or bonus.
Mm-hmm.
So there's definitely ways to motivate salespeople.
Yeah.
Besides just paying everybody more money. So contests would be a really big one in my book.
Yeah.
Especially here where there's a culture of competition that is very, very strong.
Well, and that's what these guys did when they started in their first kiosk. You know,
They had just different.
they had competitions like, hey, how many loans did you get? How many loans went bad? How many this? So there's all these metrics that, and I think in Jim Collins' books, Good to Great, one of his stories was in a manufacturing facility where he wrote in chalk on the cement manufacturing floor a big number. And like, hey, this is our, and it was like, this is our throughput. We did 7, whatever, and then the next day was 10, and he just promoted competition between people. Wasn't that from that book? Is that?
It's in there.
Yeah, it's in there.
It's big when it's in there, but it's more, and it's another business book says they evaluate the same type of thing.
Yeah, exactly. It's the same type of thing where like the night shift is like, hey, well, we're gonna, get more things done than the day shift. We'll show them, and it's the same idea of the competition. So, anyway, there's my 2 cents.
Perfect. Okay, question 2. What is the expected variable contribution of a loan? Use the following assumptions. Expected value of interest and fees for the loan is $180 for a new loan plus the expected value of a renewal loan. Assume Progresso must pay $55 in interest on the loan and subtract loan loss based on 10%. So let's see. Let's see, expected value of interest is $180. So must pay.
So basically, here's something. So I'm looking at the post-discussion poll.
Mm-hmm.
So this one has a 5th question posed to it that says, it's the same question as what we're about to talk about. As a group, you needed to change the current compensation plan to improve the number of loans made per month. You could have changed the variable amount, the number of loans needed to receive a payout, and or the fixed compensation. So really, we need to tell them, okay, this is what we did or didn't do. And it gives us all the options to change, this, or this, to change these 2, to change all 3. But I don't know. Without the numbers, I found it really hard to figure out.
I'm trying to find them. Yeah, it doesn't give us any numbers. Not that I saw within the exhibits or in the case study, unless I'm mistaken. I didn't see any.
And I don't know why, but I found it, because of that, I found it do anything, because you could assume numbers.
Guys, take a look at page 5, page 5 of 18, kind of towards the bottom. It goes through and tells us Progresso's average loan was $900, which customers typically paid back over 9 months at a gross APR of 36%.
Gotcha. Okay.
Gross APR included annual interest rate of 26% paid on the declining balance and an origination fee of $45. Given the declining balance calculation, each account was worth $180 to the company over the life of the loan. The renewal application rate hovered around 65%, with an 80% approval rate for renewals. Loan losses were calculated as cumulative gross charge-offs and averaged less than $100 per $1,000 dispersed. So that's what that means. Is it's saying 10% losses.
Okay.
Or am I missing something?
So basically, for every, because it basically went for every Let me see. Because every account was worth about $180 to the company. That's about how much interest they were receiving back.
Correct.
Plus the origination fee of $45. So they were making roughly $225 per loan that they did. Then,
Well, it just said each account was worth 180 to the company over the life of the loan. I'm not sure if that $45 was in addition to.
and an origination fee of 45. Yeah. So basically what it's saying is that for every $1,000 dispersed, so about almost every loan, there was about $100 loss. So that $180 quickly becomes $80 of profit.
That's what I'm getting from it. But the average loan was 900. So it's actually
It's a little
it's not $1,000 and you got $180 minus another 100. It's 180 over 900, and then so whatever 10% of that is, right?
180
Does that make
over
sense?
yeah.
So whatever 10% of 900 is, which is close to $100, not exactly.
It would be
90 bucks. We should know what 10% of 900 is.
Yeah. So it's about $90 that they're losing. So they're losing give and take about half of their, that $90 is about half of their 180. Well, it is half of 180. So they're losing half their revenue because of the way that they have it set up.
Yeah. If that origination fee of $45 is not
included.
So I would definitely, not include that origination fee, but just the way that it's written, it makes me feel like it's included in that.
So how would you restructure their loan process? Would you increase the interest that they had to pay, or would you increase the amount and the interest, or what would you do?
It's hard. I mean,
is there one way that works better than everything, or are there a couple options?
I would increase the origination fee. I mean, you can't front load stuff too much, but if you're giving them the money, they're paying you back. So usually those origination fees, I mean, are they paying that up front? Are they paying that in the life of the loan? I don't know. So I would definitely try to get the origination fee to be something you pay up front. Then it's cold hard cash in your hand.
So it says here also on the question, it says, assume Progresso must pay $55 in interest on the loan. Treat this interest as a cost to Progresso. So Progresso borrows the money to give to someone else, and then they have to pay $55 of that interest that they receive to the people that they borrowed the money to from.
So basically take 180 minus that $55 minus $90, and what are you left with?
$35.
$35. And so to make, and each retail location costs $2,000. So if you take 2,000 divided by $35, so you need to be doing just over 57 loans a month to break even. But that's not even including the labor costs.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, for you to make money, you got to be cranking through these loans.
So really, you got to change everything: the variable cost, the number of loans, and the compensation.
Yeah, I mean, but
realistically,
it just gets sticky because if you up the interest rate people will go somewhere else because other people will offer the lower interest rate, whereas
But they can't. Their other option is to go to these places where it's, you know, it's 100% or it's like super high.
mm-hmm,
So
exactly.
I would probably just do a combination of, I mean, raise the interest rates not a crazy ton, but you know, a little bit more, and then increase that origination fee, and then that would definitely help.
Yeah.
But this based on based on everything they're telling us, this is a numbers business. You know, you really have to. It's all about the number of loans that you send out. So you have to have high volume, and that was their problem. They weren't hitting their growth numbers, and that was the problem.
Yeah, I mean, do you think they would have the ability to go to whoever they're getting the money from and negotiate a lower interest that they have to pay or a lower fee that they have to pay?
Well, they had all these investors' monies, this money from investors, and they were, if I remember what I read in here, was, you know, these investors were like, hey, we want to start seeing our money back, you know, and they were like, we're trying. So I'm trying to, darn it, where did I read that at? It must have been towards the beginning. And another thing that these guys did is they reported these, you know, the repayments and stuff like that to FICO. They would help build people's credit scores. Yeah, I can't. It was in here somewhere. I'm not, of course, I can't find it, but it said that. Yeah, it said that I swear I remember reading that the investors were like, you know, like, hey, we want to get our money back, so they were getting a lot of pressure. I can't find it. Maybe I'm getting this mixed up with a different one. Yeah. Okay, so Gutierrez was a strong believer in using the right data to evaluate Progresso's true performance and to identify necessary improvements. What he didn't have was the time or money to do so. $50,000 a month, and coming out of the 2008 financial crisis, investors were growing impatient. Anyway, so I mean, maybe selling inside of Sears and Kmart, maybe that wasn't, you know, their best move.
There could have been better moves or better options.
I don't know. You know, maybe they could have went online and paid a lot more money in like a Google AdWords campaign and just do this shifted online rather than, because you know you're paying, you not only are you paying, you know, labor costs at each location, you're also paying $2,000 a month in rent inside of all these places.
So really, what they should have done
So
is
that's a lot of overhead to only make, you know, $35 alone.
Yeah, so maybe they should have taken the online route instead to begin with, and then maybe move to that. Or because I don't know, I feel like in a business, marketing or advertising is where the most amount of money gets done, which can be beneficial, but is also the biggest hurt the company. And I feel like that's what happened here.
Yeah.
So really, they need to change the interest of variable costs. They need to change the whole shebang in order for it to be somewhat profitable.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I just would change your interest rates a little bit, because their interest rate compared to those payday loan places and stuff like that, it's 36 compared to 100%. You know, I think they could have some room there and the whatever that other fee was, the origination fee.
Anyone else have anything to say or any comments?
Nick? No, did we go through all the questions?
I have no idea. I'm pretty sure the rest of the questions came out to be, financial questions. Question was, as a group, talk about would you change the number of loans, the variable amount, and or the fixed compensation, which we went over.
Yeah. No, I mean, I like the business model. I think, it's definitely a numbers game.
It's a good plan. It just wasn't carried out well in the beginning.
Yeah, and maybe they, I don't know. It just seemed like all of a sudden they were like, hey, look, we started our own thing. Let's get a bunch of venture capital financing. And when you start, having different funding rounds and stuff like that, these guys want their money back, and so then everything gets driven off of that, not off of like, well, hey, let's grow this for a couple of years until we've proven the model and then go. But no, it's just like, hey, you guys aren't growing fast enough. Get this going. All right. So I think, was it Jorge? Okay, Jorge just said something else that Progresso could not track. Oh, wait, he already said that one. Okay, Progresso. Oh, this was old. Sorry, this is 20 minutes ago. Just kidding.
Looks like he's typing, so.
Okay. I don't know. I think that's probably good, guys.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of stuff in there that it's like, if we don't have it.
I don't have anything else.
Yeah, I don't either.
Yeah,
All right.
me neither. I mean, bottom line, the stuff they could do to change it, we talked about, and just increasing volume and more training for the sales guys and competition.
All right. Well.
All right.
Well, I'm gonna